What's going on, everybody? Welcome into HQ Spotlight on CBS Sports Network. I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino. The 2025 NBA Draft that is officially in the books, and the Dallas Mavericks are officially introducing Cooper Flagg as a new member, the newest member of the organization. So there were some surprises in the drafts, right? Like Trey Johnson falling to number 6, but there was no question what the Mavs were going to do in taking Cooper Flagg with that number 1 overall pick. It's been a rough couple of months for Dallas because remember trading Luka over to the Lakers. They're getting a lot of heat from the fan base because of that decision, and the Mavs had less than a 2% chance to get that number 1 overall pick. But alas, the basketball gods were in their favor, and the Mavs getting the freshman phenom out of Duke, the National Player of the Year, and someone who arguably put up the best freshman season by a Duke player ever. So here is Dallas, the Mavericks, officially introducing Cooper Flagg as a member of the team. Take a listen.
There's a statue of Dirk outside the arena. Obviously, he was the face of this franchise for a long time. He kind of handed the baton to Luka. The anticipation is he would have been the face for a long time. Plans changed. There's now that anticipation for you. How do you feel about kind of that lineage and the responsibility that comes with those sort of expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming in just trying to learn and trying to get better every single day. And I think if I can do that to the best of my ability, I think expectations and pressures that other people, will put on me and our team, that will kind of work itself out. So, I'm just trying to come in and be the best that I can be and just win at the highest level.
Oh, man, what a question right out of the gate. And we saw the smirk from Cooper Flagg as he's listening to that, probably trying to concoct an answer in his head. So we have John Gonzalez and Sam Quinn here with us on Spotlight because free agency, that kicks off on Monday. So we're looking at teams who have the biggest needs post-draft ahead of free agency, and we're starting with the Mavs, gentlemen. And a new, twist in all of this is that Jason Kidd saying that he's going to utilize Cooper Flagg as a point guard early, plans to push him by putting him in situations that might make him feel uncomfortable. So, Sam, when you're hearing that, plus thinking of what Dallas already has in AD, Klay Thompson, Kyrie, I know injuries are at play there, but what else do you think they need? And does Jason Kidd saying that about how he's going to utilize Cooper Flagg kind of make you shift your perspective in what Dallas needs?
Yeah, count me as a skeptic that Cooper Flagg can play point guard, right? Rookie point guards are usually bad point guards, right? They'll put up counting stats, but as far as affecting winning, doing so as a point guard in your first year in the NBA is like borderline unprecedented unless you're Magic Johnson. Cooper Flagg is very promising. I'm going to go ahead and say he's not Magic Johnson. So you're looking at a taxpayer mid-level exception, right? Around $5.7 million. That's what Kyrie gave them back, essentially, in the way that he restructured his contract, gave up a little bit of short-term money to add some long-term years back on the end. So you're looking at guys like D'Angelo Russell, Chris Paul, Malcolm Brogdon, those older point guards in that price range that can come in, hold down the fort short term, and just get you back to the point where hopefully Kyrie Irving comes back in February or March and you can roll from there.
Yeah, Sam and I have done too much basketball together because when we were thinking about the Mavs and their needs, I have D'Angelo Russell ? Anybody? That's basically the market they're looking for here. It's great that Jason Kidd thinks that Cooper Flagg could be a point Cooper Flagg in the NBA, but I think that's like a little bit more wishful thinking and out of necessity too, right? Because their front court, they're loaded on the front court. They just locked down Daniel Gafford. They've got Derek Lively. He's a big part of their team. I forgot about PJ Washington and Dwight Powell. And then, they've got some really talented wings like Najee Marshall. And I'll use talented in air quotes when it comes to Caleb Martin because the Sixers got off of him for a reason. They made a mistake. Nico Harrison did, giving up on Quentin Grimes. But that front court and the wing situation is actually pretty good. But you need sort of, Jacqueline, what amounts to a bridge loan here in the backcourt until Kyrie Irving comes back from his ACL injury. So yeah, I guess run Cooper Flagg out there because somebody's got to dribble the ball, but I'm also, like Sam, a little skeptical about that.
Okay, so Jason Kidd, maybe pump the brakes. You're not really buying what you're selling at the moment in terms of Cooper Flagg being a point guard. All right, let's go to a team that D'Angelo Russell used to play for. We're going from Luka's old team to his new team in the Lakers, and they did not have a first-round pick. Shout out to the AD trade in 2019 because of that. And they almost had a center in Mark Williams, but there was this botched physical that he failed, so that didn't happen. So, John, it is no surprise, no secret that they do need a center. They need a big man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been looking at this for a while now. And as you mentioned, they traded for Mark Williams, and then they were like, oh, no, we have to untrade for Mark Williams. This is a terrible idea. It was whatever happened with Mark Williams, it was bad enough that they would rather have had Jackson Hayes running out there as the nominal starter. I mean, Jackson Hayes was the starter in name only because when it actually came to J.J. Redick playing him, he'd start him and then immediately yank him. He'd get the quick hook. And what you ended up with was a lot of small ball LeBron and Dorian Finney-Smith at center. And that is not sustainable moving forward if you want to be. They were the 3rd seed last year, but if you have designs on doing that again and being actual contenders in the Western Conference, that's simply not going to get it done. They're actually pretty positionally big, but they're obviously at center. They're a 0. So they've been linked to Miles Turner forever. That's not going to happen. The Pacers are going to hold on to him. Some names that we were thinking about: Nikola Vucevic is still on the Chicago Bulls for reasons surpassing understanding. Brook Lopez is out there. Brook Lopez is a name I would keep an eye on. He made $23 million last year. There's no world where he's going to make anywhere close to that. He's going to have to take a massive pay cut. If you're going to do that, LA is a nice place to do that, right? Come out to LA, sunshine, palm trees, the beach. You got Luka and LeBron. Maybe Bobby Portis, Naz Reid's got a player option. Walker Kessler, he could potentially become available. But yes, Jacqueline, absolutely, this is priority number 1 for the Lakers.
Yeah, Brook Lopez does make a lot of sense here just because of the Disney connection, right? He wants to live near Disney. I'll throw out one more name that I really like. The Portland Trailblazers now have 5 centers. Could DeAndre Ayton play for the Lakers now, just considering how deep Portland is? And the Lakers love betting on talent, right? Rui Hachimura, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes. They love bringing in talented former lottery picks who have maybe lost their way on other teams. So I think that's a name to watch here as well. You could probably get him without giving up serious draft capital.
John, did you say taking a pay cut is nice if you're in LA? Like, I know the sunshine and the palm trees is not going to pay the rent or mortgage of what you're going to have to get there in LA, but you know, whatever, maybe. Okay.
It's NBA problems, Jacqueline.
Okay. You're right. This is not pedestrian issues. I should think about that. Let's go to the Warriors. I got to give them a shout out for taking Gator great Will Richard in the 2nd round of the draft. If we're thinking about the Dubs as a whole, we're slowly, Sam, inching towards like a post Steph Curry era and what that looks like. So who should they target in free agency here once you consider what they did with the draft as well?
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of the same names here at center. They're operating in the same price point, right? They're looking at a mid-level center. I'm going to throw out one name we didn't mention for the Lakers. It feels like he was put on this earth to play for Golden State. That would be Al Horford, right? What have the Warriors wanted forever? A center who can shoot. Somebody you can put next to Draymond Green, space the floor a little bit, because Draymond doesn't shoot threes. Jimmy Butler doesn't shoot threes. You want a center who can, switch on the perimeter like Draymond does, maintain your defensive scheme without hurting you on offense. Boston now in a cap crunch. They might have to decide, can we only bring back one of Al Horford and Luke Cornett? Do we potentially lose both if we're this close to the second apron? I think Al Horford is out there. All of the contenders that are looking for centers are going to call Al Horford. He's at this point so old that he's not going to command a huge contract, but he was great last year for Boston. I personally almost put him on my all-defense list. So I think Al Horford makes a lot of sense for Golden State and, frankly, for any contender that looks for a big.
Sam, what a full circle moment. I started that topic talking about Will Richard, Gator great. Now we're ending it with them targeting an even Gator great. There we go. I said that 5 times fast. And Al Horford in free agency. Let's go to the Kings, John. It feels like they have a lot of needs. They've certainly traded a lot of big names in their franchise historically, but where do they start?
Yeah, well, it's hilarious. 'Twas ever thus that you say, the Kings need a lot of stuff. That's been true forever. Sam and I, by the way, are throwing our names in for running the franchise. So if Vivek ever decides that he wants to go that route, we're available. All right. So they need a point guard, right? Because their face of the franchise, De'Aaron Fox, he put his hand up and decided, hey, it's really been fun in Sacramento. I'm going to go to San Antonio and try to win with Victor Wembanyama. And he seems happy. But since he left, they don't really have a lead guard. It's kind of just like Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan dribbling the hell out of the ball, the air out of the ball, and like fighting over last second shots. And he check shots. And that's fine and for a little bit, but you're actually going to need some sort of functional lead guard there. They've been linked to Dennis Schroeder. I suspect that the Pistons would like to have Dennis Schroeder back because the Pistons are on the rise, and Dennis Schroeder fit in pretty well there. But it's possible that maybe he shakes free once Ivy comes back, but that's a name to keep an eye on. But they've had so much turnover, Jacqueline, that, with that front office, you just expect like year after year, somebody new is going to be in the driver's seat and they're going to move their pieces around. And there's just never any consistency with this team.
Yeah, and that's not something that's going to attract free agents, right? If there's not consistency to go to that franchise. Let's go to the Sixers. We're going to end this here because they take VJ Edgecombe, number 3 overall in the draft, and there is a lot of talent on that roster. And Joel Embiid, PG-13, Tyrese Maxey. So, Sam, what do they do? Because this is a squad that has the talent, they have championship expectations, but they always fall short in the playoffs. So who should they target here in free agency?
Man, I love that I get to drive John's team here for a little bit. They have a gaping hole at power forward right now. And I look at that logjam they've created at shooting guard, drafting VJ Edgecombe, still have Jared McCain, who would have won Rookie of the Year last year if he'd stay healthy. And they acquired Quentin Grimes at the trade deadline, who was spectacular down the stretch for them, right? Quentin Grimes is a restricted free agent. I think there will be a lot of interest in him in the market. I do wonder, can you sign and trade him out and either get an asset back that you can redirect for a power forward, or just trade him directly for a power forward? The other name to consider here is somebody that was on their own team, Gershon Yabusele, last year. If they re-sign Quentin Grimes, they're probably not going to have enough space to use that mid-level exception to re-sign Yabusele. If they can get Quentin Grimes off the team, get an asset back for him, get a player back for him, now you potentially could re-sign Gershon Yabusele, but they need to get a power forward in here somewhere, and that logjam at shooting guard is the easiest way to address it.
Yeah, if it comes down to Yabu or Quentin Grimes, I'd rather have Quentin Grimes because I think they hit on something there, Jacqueline. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. We all know this because they're the Sixers and they're the most star-crossed franchise in recent memory, and all they do is step on rakes. So that's not going to change.
That is a pretty jaded analysis there from John Gonzalez and his team. I wouldn't expect anything less from a 76ers fan. John, Sam, we certainly appreciate it breaking down certain teams, their biggest needs ahead of free agency, which, by the way, kicks off in just a couple of days. Getting a look at the top 10 NBA free agents, according to CBSSports.com. Of course, LeBron James, no matter where you look, he's going to be number 1 on this list. He has a $53 million player option, so the thought is that he's going to stick around there. In LA, James Harden as well. Then we have Kyrie and Fred VanVleet. Both of those two guys reportedly already re-signing with their teams.